Welcome to day 6, in which we are looking at the book of Revelation. And yesterday was a big question: who is the Antichrist? Today is another big question: what is the rapture? Now, let me just say, the rapture is not technically a question out of the book of Revelation. But I want to take these questions as they come, and I want to deal with the questions as you're thinking about them. So you probably have heard about the rapture because of the Left Behind series, or HBO had a series out. I didn't see it, but I heard about it, called The Leftovers. There have been other books, The Late Great Planet Earth, and other things. So I just want to say the idea here is that the church, Christians, will escape the persecution, the worst of the suffering, and will join with Christ in the air in a moment and be raptured. And it's quite complicated, and I'm just water skiing over the topic today because I'll do more on this in a podcast that is a little bit more didactic than it is devotional. So in 5 minutes, I can't say a lot. Let me just frame it by saying discussions about the rapture all are in the context of the pre-millennial framework. So you've got the millennium discussed at the end of the book of Revelation, the 1,000-year reign, and there's different views on that. There's pre-millennial, amillennial, post-millennial, and I just want to say that the discussions about the rapture and what it is and when it happens and all that take place in the pre-millennial context. So amillennialists and post-millennialists don't talk about it, but in the pre-millennial context, you have people talking about a pre-tribulation rapture, a mid-tribulation rapture, and a post-tribulation rapture. So lots of moving pieces, but the phrase rapture doesn't actually occur in the Bible. It is brought up here because of 1 Thessalonians 4, the word caught up, which in the Latin is rapturo, and that's what gives us the English word rapture. And the way many have understood this is that Christians will be raptured. They'll be removed from the earth before the worst things happen, and they will be with Jesus. Now, I push back on this a bit, and in part because when I read the book of Revelation and when I look at what's happened in the church over the last 2,000 years and descriptions about what we should expect to happen, it doesn't look like we escape the tribulation. So in Matthew 24, we've got some additional descriptions that people would say relate to the rapture. It's right. This is right around the time that you hear, one will be in the field, one will be taken, and the other will be left behind. And there's discussion about wars and famines and persecutions and betrayal and all kinds of bad things, and believers will be handed over to be hated and persecuted and martyred and tempted and all these things. So it doesn't sound to me like there's an escape plan. It sounds to me like what we're being invited into and called to prepare for is endurance. So I understand, and I want to give, again, in the podcast, we'll go more into this, and I will try and explain with more vigor the dispensational, premillennial rapture context. But I think that the language here being called up into the sky is not to escape, it's to meet Jesus at the end, as he is coming to earth. As he is returning. And just this is sort of language that was happening back then when if a king was coming into town or some great military conqueror was returning home after a victory, the people would march out of town to meet them and to sort of escort them back in. And I think that's the language that we're seeing here, that Jesus will return. We'll meet him on his return, and he will gather his people together, and he will judge evil, and he'll right every wrong, and he'll keep every promise. So I think the bigger question is maybe not, will there be a rapture? But the bigger question I would present to you is, are you ready for what is going to come, whatever that looks like? Because Scripture is clear, more than timelines and charts and speculation. We are called to endure. We're called to be awake. We're called to be faithful. We're called to be ready when our King returns. We're called to be living sacrificially. We're called to be living lives of hope. Jesus is coming back. That ought to change how we think about everything. And when he does, we want him to find us faithful. Hope that shapes you to live with love and endurance today. Have a good day.